and sleep with this guy who I met at a seminar who I feel really hot for.
Yeah.
That would be so unloving. And the basis of the teaching is about love and truth.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not working, just saying it. Can we have the other mic? Thanks, yeah.
It's been quite a few hours.
I have this example of a very close friend in Austria who I absolutely adore. We go back a long way, and she was married for 18 years, and I idolized them as a couple. I loved her husband very much, and they went through a lot together. They lost a child, he had cancer, and then she met this guy and fell so madly in love with him. He had 4 kids as well, and the wife was suffering from depression. And they fought it like crazy. They fought it. They didn't see each other for 3 months. My friend became almost suicidal and lost like 15 kilos. And in the end, they decided to go for it. And you cannot imagine the hatred they faced from society, from people, the judgment. Her husband even threatened to kill her. I mean, they went through hell, but they stuck together. They had for years 6 kids, which they had to take on holiday and everything, financial downturn.
Yeah.
They eventually got married. They're now married 7 years. And every time I go home, I say, Doris, was it worth it? And if I see them, this couple together, it's like I see almost stars between them. And this is why I asked for the example. I don't judge them. And it taught me a lot about not judging people. Had a guy done it, we'd all said, bastard, typical.
Yeah.
But this was a friend that I loved, and it happened to her.
Yeah.
And I can just explain it with the soulmate theory, because they've been through so much. And she says, Gudrun, if I hadn't done it, I never knew that such love existed in life.
Yeah.
And she doesn't regret it.
Yeah.
That's why
Now,
I
I
was
put to you that the husband, who then threatened to kill her as a result of her actions, obviously never loved her in the first place. Because you can't love somebody 1 minute and then want to kill them the next. He must have been in a codependent addiction with her. Otherwise, he would never have threatened such a thing. See, a person who loves doesn't threaten a person they love when the person they love doesn't any longer do what they want. Yeah.
My last question was, can you justify, going for that, even though you're hurting so many people in the process?
I suggest to you, you're not hurting this person at all.
But the children and...
You're not hurting the children either. I don't believe you're hurting the children. The children will, if there's children involved in this particular partnership, they will feel automatically the codependent addictions between those two, right? They will already know there's something not quite right with this relationship. They will already feel also, if I stay in this relationship, that they will then begin to believe that they have to deny love before they do anything. Does that make sense? That's what they will start feeling. And as a result of that, they will grow up denying love and having a lot of other emotional turmoil in their lives as a result of their denial of love. So we've got to be very careful. You see, the turmoil usually only results because one or both are not loving. So what I put to you is that she, by staying separate from this guy and then talking to her husband, I don't know how it happened, but if it happened in a manner that
she owned the desire and said, look, this is what's happening. I need to talk to you first because you're my husband. I need to examine whether this is loving or addiction. I need to know inside of myself that this is not based on an avoidance of something. If she went through that whole process for 3 months, if that's what happened.
Endured some of his rage and anger as a result, even in that process, although why she has to endure it, she doesn't have to. But let's say she did. And then she still decided, no, I've got to be with this man after all of that. Then she has acted appropriately with this man. She has acted in harmony with integrity and love and truth with this man. So she has actually loved this man. Now, if he then goes and says, I'm going to kill you if you leave, who's now acting lovingly? He certainly is not. And if he then goes, the kids should hate you now because you've left, right? Who's now acting unlovingly? Him, not her. He's the one who doesn't want to feel his feelings. He's the one who doesn't want to feel his emotions. He's the one who's blaming the other person for their choices and decisions. He's the one who's controlling. And I put to you that he's always been controlling, because you never revert to control unless you've always been controlling. You never revert to a course of action unless you've always been It's just that she's always met it. She's always met the control with the appropriate response up until this point. And that's why they had a seemingly outward happy relationship. The reality is quite different. The reality is always triggered by the event. So if she felt these feelings for another man, if he really loved her and really cared for her, he would not be going, I'm going to kill you if you go with this other man. And he would not be fighting with getting the children to fight against her or any of those kind of things if he really loved her or cared for her. He would say to her, you go with this man and determine whether that makes you happy or not, and I will deal with my grief about that particular situation. That's what he would do if he really loved her. So I put to you that he didn't really love her. He was just in an addiction with her. Does that make sense? Yep.
Yeah, just referring to the kids, my parents stayed in a relationship for a long time, and I felt like it was really unloving all my time, and I felt, oh, it's my fault that they're still together and stuff. And now they finally broke up, and I felt such a relief, and it was quite easy to work through the emotion like of I'm the fault and I'm the mistake, and like it was such a relief and now they are following more their passions, and even though it's quite triggering for them, it's really great.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, how often the parents think they're staying together for the children.
Yeah, and it's
the
so
reality
damaging.
is the children feel like they're being blamed for all of the problems the parents are having.
Yeah.
That's the reality, and we need to stop blaming the children for the reason why they stay together or go apart, and we need to instead own our emotions about, do I love this person still? Do I not? You see, from God's perspective, this relationship, this original relationship, is only a relationship, is only a marriage if both love.